Well, hello again. I'm Bill Russell, President of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. We have another episode of Around the Lake, and today we have Suzanne Meyer. She's with the Welcome Committee, and Suzanne, you and I were talking. I've been at the Chamber since 1996, not to really talk about our age, because I think you were probably 13 when you started at the Welcome Committee.
Oh, thank you. You're very
But
kind.
we've known each other probably 2 decades or more, and you've been super involved in the Chamber and in our community. But for people who don't know what is the Welcome Committee, share what you do.
Okay, so we are an advertising and marketing service. So our mission is twofold. One, we help acclimate newcomers. We welcome them as soon as they close on their home. We bring them a welcome basket full of community information, maps, medical directories, because of course they're looking for doctors, veterinarians, dentists, and also retail merchants. And on the flip side, we're helping our businesses, our local businesses, get introduced personally to these brand new consumers who just moved here to the community, and they're looking for each other. So we're kind of like a matchmaker in a way.
Right. Well, what is the area you serve?
So we serve Huntersville, Cornelius, Davidson, Mooresville, and the Denver, East Lincoln area, because that's really booming right now. Well, every area is booming, but we had to really choose our area because many years ago, we used to do Concord, Harrisburg, Statesville, Troutman. It was just a lot to manage. There's so much growth. So we're basically up and down the I-77 corridor and then Denver.
How do you find out about the new people moving in?
Well, there's a multitude of ways. One is through the MLS. Also, we have realtor friends, and some of our welcome committee greeters are realtors. So, and also you can check, it's public information. So through the Register of Deeds, you can always check the closings. So we try to get there as soon as they close. You know, that's really when they haven't formed their buying decisions yet. So the sooner we can get to the newcomers, the better influence or the most influence we have on their buying behavior.
How many calls would you say you make a week on folks?
Well, it's monthly, really. My staff can choose their own schedule. So some of them just work the first 2 weeks of the month. Some, work the last week of the month. But we do about 250 personal visits a month.
Wow.
And then we meet at the end of the month and they turn in their paperwork. It is a job. People think we're volunteers, but we're an S corporation. So we're in business to make money. And, the businesses pay us a fee to represent them. And newcomers are confused by us. They think we're the Chamber of Commerce, actually, when we come to the house.
And we like that.
Yeah, they do. They say, "Are you the Chamber?" Sometimes they think we're the HOA and they want to write us a check. We're like, no, we don't take any money. This is a free service to the new home buyers. So they don't really know what we are, but they love getting all the freebies and the coupons and the introduction to the community.
And how many businesses would you say you represent when you take a basket out? About how many businesses are representative in that single production?
Okay, well, it varies zip code to zip code. Because Huntersville will have different advertising sponsors than Mooresville. Because, for example, we may have a Mooresville vet or a Mooresville dentist that only wants the Mooresville zip codes. But overall, there's roughly about 25 paying businesses in the basket. Plus, we represent a lot of civic and nonprofits in the basket. But overall, we have about 50 to 55 businesses within that we represent total. So
and the
it's
basket
quite a lot.
Has one of our maps in the basket.
Yes, we have did you say maps?
Maps, yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's a favorite, especially among the seniors, because they're not very adept on computers. And when we go into the 55 plus communities, they go crazy about the maps. They love them. So don't ever stop giving us those.
I have to be honest. About 3 or 4 years ago, Jack Stevens said we're almost out of maps here at the Chamber, and I'm going, well, who uses maps these days? Because I get on my iPhone if I've got to go from point A to point B. I put the in there and it tells me how to get there. But people still need maps because when they move here, they want to see what all is around them. And
Right.
we literally still go through hundreds of maps a month here at the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, we give out over 200 a month, so, but it's great. And especially with all the new construction, a lot of those subdivisions aren't even, when you Google, they don't even pop up. So it's great to have a visual. People like to hold something in their hand still.
Right.
So the maps are wonderful. Like people really do love maps.
Suzanne, how did you get into this?
Well, I majored in college in advertising and marketing, but I never even knew that this kind of a medium existed. I always thought I would work in television or radio. So when I moved here back in 90, oh my goodness, had to be 1994 when I moved here, I got a welcome wagon visit. And I thought it was the greatest thing. I had two little babies at the time, a 6-month-old and an 18-month-old. My son wasn't even born yet. He was born here. And it plugged me into the community, and they told me about story time at the library. I didn't even know we had a library. I was living in Huntersville back then.
Right.
And, it was a little tiny library where Discovery Place is now.
Mm-hmm.
We had to push the desks aside so we could sit in a circle. Like it was really small. But anyway, after the welcome wagon lady left my home, I thought, wow, I want to do this. This looks fun. So I called the welcome wagon home office in Connecticut. And anyway, to make a long story short, they hired me. The next week I was working for them. So I worked for them for 3.5 years. And then in 1998, they sold their trademark name to a New York company because that's the year the internet came out. So Welcome Wagon, which was owned by the Sendent Corporation at the time, they said, well, newcomers will get their information online now. So we're antiquated. And I thought, all right, I'll just go volunteer at school or find another job. And one by one, all the businesses started coming to me and saying, we're going to pay you to keep doing what you're doing,
Right.
because this is how we introduce ourselves to newcomers and forge relationships. And we want this service to continue. And actually, some of those businesses are still chamber members and are still advertising with us now 20, 25, 24, 25 years later. So we've had like a lot of success with long-term, people staying on for the long term, like Savvy Salon and Day Spa was one of them.
Right.
Pat
Pat's doing
Tomendal.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who said, you can't stop this. I need this service. And she's still with us today.
Well, Suzanne, this is this is a Zoom call. This podcast is virtual, and people say, well, I can network virtually, but to be honest, you really have to have the personal interaction. You can't build healthy business relationships over the internet. It might support that relationship. You might be able to get together occasionally, but you really need to build relationships in person.
I agree 100%. And I built my business face to face. So we're an example of that. And I love the chamber because you have so many opportunities to meet new clients face to face. And all those business before hours and after hours. Oh, my foster dog just came in. Come on up, Daisy. Come on up. So I fostered too for North Mac Animal Rescue. Come on up. So I don't know if you can see her.
Suzanne, and speaking of, you're not just involved in your business. You have been so involved in the fabric of our communities, promoting parks and recreation events from Cornelius. And what are some of the other activities? Obviously, fostering animals. What are some of the other activities you're involved in?
So I serve on the foundation board of directors for Iredell Health System. I help plan with their events. I'm also on the board of trustees for Iredell Health System. I've served on the Iredell County Heart Ball, the other chamber board of directors many years ago.
Right.
I also foster for North Mac Animal Rescue and for Muddy Paws Rescue. So I love dogs. Oh, and I'm the sponsorship marketing person for the town of Cornelius Parks and Rec. So I
You,
love that.
you do an amazing job. What do you like most about living at Lake Norman? I know you live in Morrisville. What do you like best about living here and working in Lake Norman?
Well, I've lived here for about, oh gosh, almost 30 years total. And I have to say, it's the best place I've ever lived. I've lived in a lot of different places like Boston, New York, Florida, and here now for 30 years. I love it because, one, the people are extremely friendly. And I've traveled all over too, but like I always can't wait to come back here because it's a very special place. I don't know how I can describe it, but of course the weather is great. The winters are mild. Summers are hot, but I can take it. Just just everybody is so gracious and kind and warm and welcoming, and it's just a great place to live and work.
Well, we really appreciate your involvement in the chamber because you have been a very, very active member, participating in our events and supporting our programs and women's conference, which is coming up April 27th. But so involved in our community. You so many groups that you're involved in. So thank you so much for everything that you do. And we also want to thank Joe Vagnone, who you know very well. Joe
Yes.
is a business broker here in our community, and he sponsors and presents Around the Lake. So we couldn't do this program without Joe.
Awesome. I'm going to see him in a couple weeks. I'm going to
Oh,
be not a guest on his show. I mean, I've been a guest on his show, but I'm bringing my son-in-law as a guest on his show in a couple weeks. So he's a great guy.
oh, he's a wonderful guy. And Joe and I are working right now to put together April 30th through May 6th, the Small Business Week.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this year is going to be the 10th annual small business event of the year. It's going to be on Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday, May the 3rd. But fantastic event we put on, and I couldn't do that without Joe. Joe's an integral part of that, and we thank him for presenting Around the Lake and being involved in the chamber just like you.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day at the lake, and thank everybody for watching.
Thank you. Bye.